Monster hunters, heroes or rogues? A deconstructive analysis of heroism, violence, and the imposition of order. Introduction. The golden myth of the shield. In the collective imagination of humanity, the image is iconic, almost sacred. A silhouette stands against a burning horizon, a silver sword dripping with dark ichor, a severed head held aloft as a trophy. From the demigods of Greek antiquity like Hercules and Perseus, to the leather-clad protagonists of modern fantasy like Geralt of Rivia or Van Helsing, the monster hunter is a figure that commands immediate, unquestioning reverence. We are conditioned to view this archetype through a lens of absolute moral clarity. The narrative is comforting in its simplicity. The world is dark and full of terrors. The monster is an aberration, a chaos that threatens the sanctity of the hearth. And the hunter is the intervening variable, the agent of light who restores balance. They are the barrier between the village and the void. We call them heroes. We toss coins to them. We sing ballads of their deeds. But let us pause the song. Let us wipe the romantic blur from the lens and look at the blood on the ground. When we strip away the epic score and the gratitude of the saved damsel, what remains of the act itself? Is the hunter truly a savior? Or are they merely a violent enforcer of a specific, perhaps tyrannical type of order? Is the slaying of the beast an act of justice? Or is it a disruption of a natural cycle that humanity simply refuses to understand? To understand the monster hunter, we must dismantle the pedestal upon which they stand. We must look at the sword not as a symbol of justice, but as a tool of execution. Chapter 1. The Altar of the Savior. Why we worship the blade. Before we tear down the myth, we must understand why we built it. The worship of the monster hunter is not born out of admiration for violence, but out of a desperate primal need for ontological security. Human civilization is, at its core, a fragile island in a sea of entropy. We build walls, we pave roads, and we create laws to convince ourselves that the universe is predictable. But the monster, the dragon in the mountains, the werewolf in the woods, the leviathan in the deep, represents the terrifying truth that we are not in control. The monster is chaos incarnate. It does not obey our laws. It eats our livestock, burns our thatched roofs, and mocks our hierarchies. In this context, the hunter is not just a mercenary. They are a high priest of order. When a village hires a hunter, they are not simply paying for pest control. They are paying for the restoration of their reality. The hunter validates the human right to exist and expand. By killing the predator that stalks the edges of the map, the hunter turns the unknown into the known. They turn a terrifying, incomprehensible force of nature into a carcass, something dead, measurable, and finite. We venerate them because they allow us to sleep at night. They shoulder the burden of violence so that the baker, the blacksmith, and the scholar can pretend that the world is safe. They are the necessary evil that allows the greater good of civilization to flourish. We project our own desire for dominance onto them. Every time a hunter slays a beast, it is a reaffirmation of the anthropocentric worldview. That man is the master of the earth, and anything that challenges this mastery forfeits its right to live. Furthermore, there is a romantic tragedy to them that appeals to our pathos. They are often outcasts, scarred and solitary. We love them because they sacrifice their own humanity to protect ours. They wade through filth so we can walk in clean streets. This transactional martyrdom is the foundation of their glory. But is this martyrdom genuine, or is it a mask for something darker? Chapter 2. The anatomy of the hunt, a raw and brutal reality. Let us now turn off the heroic lighting and examine the hunt under the cold glare of forensic analysis. When we remove the narrative justification, it was evil. It was going to kill us. The act reveals itself for what it truly is. A grim, industrialized form of slaughter. The popular image of the duel, honorable, evenly matched, a dance of steel and claw, is a fabrication. A professional monster hunter does not fight fair, they fight to exterminate. They use traps, poisons, bombs, and exploitation of biological weaknesses. It is premeditated murder. The hunter tracks a sentient or semi-sentient being to its lair, its home, and butchers it. Consider the economic reality, often glossed over in the legends. In many deconstructed narratives, and implicit in the traditional ones, the hunter works for coin. This commodifies the existence of the other. The griffin is not a majestic creature of the wind. It is a bounty of 500 gold pieces. The basilisk is not a biological marvel. It is a collection of alchemical ingredients to be harvested. Eyes, scales, venom sacs. The hunter is not a knight. They are a poacher with a license. They are the ultimate capitalist of the wilderness, turning the magical ecosystem into raw resources for human consumption. Furthermore, let us look at the monsters that are typically hunted. Often these creatures are merely apex predators behaving according to their nature. A tiger that eats a man is not evil. It is hungry. A dragon that burns a settlement encroaching on its territory is defending its domain. By labeling these biological imperatives as monstrosity, the hunter justifies a cruelty that would be deemed psychopathic in any other context. The hunter's trade is also one of escalation. By specializing in killing the strongest creatures, the hunter engages in an evolutionary arms race. They do not bring peace. They bring a sharper sword, which necessitates a thicker hide. Violence begets violence. The presence of a witcher or a slayer often attracts trouble rather than dispelling it. They are magnets for conflict, turning quiet backwaters into battlefields. The glory of the kill is merely the aestheticization of gore. The trophy head on the saddle is a macabre celebration of death, a warning sign not just to other monsters, but to nature itself. Do not trespass in the realm of man. Chapter 3. The Beast's Lament, the Perspective of the Other. To truly deconstruct the hunter, we must commit the ultimate heresy. We must empathize with the monster. We must view the narrative from the darkness of the cave looking out, rather than from the village looking in. From the perspective of the monster, the hunter is the true villain. The hunter is the invading force, the terminator who arrives without warning to commit genocide against a species. Imagine a species of ancient, long-lived beings. Let us call them dragons or trolls, who have inhabited the land for millennia before humans arrived. They live in balance with the wild, taking only what they need, guarding the old magics. Then, the civilized races arrive. They cut down the forests, they poison the rivers with their mines, and they build loud, sprawling cities. When the ancient creature strikes back to defend its home from this infestation, the humans cry, "Monster," and send for the butcher. In this light, the monster hunter is the shock trooper of colonization. They are the agents of displacement. The monster is often a metaphor for the indigenous, the old ways, or the marginalized who do not fit into the rigid structure of the new society. Consider the cursed monsters, the werewolves, the strigas, the banshees. These are often tragic figures, victims of fate, trauma, or curses they did not ask for. They are suffering. The hunter's solution to their suffering is rarely compassion or a cure. It is usually a silver bolt to the heart. The hunter represents a society that refuses to deal with mental illness, trauma, or social deviation, preferring instead to sanitize the problem by eliminating the deviant. From the victim's eyes, the hunter is a terrifying, implacable force. They have no mercy, no hesitation, and they are armed with the accumulated knowledge of how best to kill you. There is a profound injustice in the narrative that paints the extinction of magical species as a happy ending. When the last dragon dies, the world becomes safer. Yes, but it also becomes smaller, grayer, and devoid of wonder. The hunter is the architect of this disenchantment. Chapter 4. The imperialism of order, societal and historical implications. Moving beyond the individual act of killing, we must analyze what the monster hunter represents on a socio-political level. The conflict between hunter and monster is arguably the defining conflict of human history. The artificial versus the natural, or the new order versus the old chaos. The monster hunter is the supreme enforcer of the status quo. They do not change society. They maintain it. By eliminating external threats, they allow corrupt kings, oppressive feudal systems, and stagnant religious orders to remain in power without challenge. If a dragon burns down the castle of a tyrant, is the dragon evil? Or is it a force of revolutionary chaos? By killing the dragon, the hunter implicitly sides with the tyrant. They are the ultimate conservatives, preserving the human hierarchy against the leveling power of nature. Historically, the rhetoric used to describe hunting monsters is identical to the rhetoric used to justify colonialism and imperialism. The wild lands are seen as dangerous and unruly, inhabited by savages, monsters, who must be pacified or eradicated to make way for civilization. Settlements. The hunter is the pioneer with the rifle, clearing the frontier. This reveals a disturbing arrogance in the human psyche. The belief that the world belongs to us, and anything that we cannot domesticate must be destroyed. The monster represents the sublime, that which is great, terrifying, and beyond human comprehension. The hunter represents the rational, the need to categorize, dissect, and control. Therefore, the victory of the hunter is the victory of a specific kind of sterile rationality. It is the triumph of the map over the territory. It is the suppression of the subconscious, the wild, and the instinctual in favor of the logical, the safe, and the sterile. We cheer for the hunter because we are terrified of our own wildness. We project our internal demons onto the beast, and by killing the beast, we hope to exorcise our own shadows. But a world without monsters is a world without mystery. It is a paved parking lot, safe, lit by electric lights, and utterly soulless. The hunter, in their quest to save the world, ultimately sterilizes it. Conclusion: the gray horizon. So, where does this leave us? Is the monster hunter a hero or a disruptor? The uncomfortable answer, born of deconstruction, is that they are both and neither. They are heroes in the tragic sense. They undertake the grim work that survival requires. Without them, humanity might truly be extinguished by forces it cannot comprehend. There is a nobility in their willingness to stand between the fragile candle of life and the howling wind of the void. However, they are also disruptors and butchers. They are the bloody edge of human expansionism, the destroyers of magic, and the enforcers of an anthropocentric tyranny that leaves no room for the other. They are the executioners of the old world, paving the way for a new one that is safer but infinitely less magical. We should not stop telling stories of monster hunters. But perhaps we should change how we listen to them. Instead of blind worship, we should view them with a complex, melancholic gaze. We should recognize that every coin tossed to a witcher pays for a silence where a roar used to be. We should understand that the safety of the village is bought with the blood of the wilderness. The hunter stands on the wall, looking out at the dark. We need them there. But we should never forget that the blood on their sword is not always black. Sometimes it is as red as our own, and sometimes it belongs to something that had just as much right to exist as we do. The true monster, perhaps, is not the beast in the woods, but the relentless, consuming engine of civilization that demands the beast must die. And the hunter? The hunter is just the mechanic who keeps that engine running.
Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this video, learned something new, or simply want to see more content like this, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support truly helps the channel grow and reach more people. And if you have thoughts or ideas you'd like to share, feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next video.